Hi, doctor. I am looking at this deep bite case, and the preferences put in initially, I think, are really, really good. That definitely got a lot of the retention attachments that we want on the laterals. That is critical for upper incisor intrusion, and retention attachments throughout the premolars, which is critical for lower anterior intrusion. So one of the questions given to me was, what about this blue dot movement? Should we be concerned about the amount of intrusion that number 28 or 44 is doing? In which, because there is a retention attachment here and here, I think we have a lot of control. Plus, it's only zero point 0.5 millimeters. The Tooth movements assessment will give you a blue dot, anything that is above half a millimeter, which is fairly small, and would be a concern if you didn't have any attachment on the molar and or were rotating this premolar with a rotation attachment. So you had asked for retention attachments on all the premolars, which is absolutely a great way to go. The one thing missing is asking to not rotate the premolars. Can you see that here on this second premolar? And so if you were to deliver this case, may not be the end of the world, but your patient's going to tell you that the aligners don't really feel like they're fitting in the back. And if they get a lack of a fit here, then that can, have a domino effect towards the lower anterior. So I would ask to eliminate rotation from all premolars because that is not the goal of this adult case. And having the retention attachments just be there for retention and allow for just buccolingual expansion, or sorry, buccolingual movements, primarily buccal expansion, would be the way to go. So if we were to take this a step further and say, could we eliminate or reduce the premolar intrusion, I want to look at why that's happening. So this upper canine is rotating in, and so the distal portion of that is colliding with the lower premolar for the causing the need for intrusion. But if we look at this, does the canine need to come lingual so much? Could we just keep the distal position similar to where it's starting, or do more bodily rotation where the distal comes out? I think that would be a solution that would be still work with the arch form here, and then allow for a few other easier movements. So when you ask for revisions, you can write and say, please eliminate all premolar rotations. I apologize for repeating myself. And let's say, let's not extrude the canine and let's not bring it in so lingual, right? Then it doesn't look so perfect with the lateral, but we could just take this and we could add back a little hinge movement here, and or we could take the distal of the lateral out a bit so that way it all fits within an arch form. And then we don't need to intrude this nearly as much. Now, I do see an alert for a red heavy occlusal contact. Of course, we don't want that, but this is also tipping lingual. So if we were to just do more buccal movement, or you could say less lingual movement, that alleviates that heavy contact. Now, when you start doing the 3D controls, a lot of this it can all kind of work together because the teeth are all strung together. And so that's where you may have a little bit of um, a domino effect of you change one thing and then you need to change another. So these would be simple movements to eliminate the blue dot movement. And if you wanted to just get this done all in one swoop without having to request this back to the CAD designers, you would go through each tooth and zero out the rotation. The upper one's not as critical, but this 36 degrees of rotation, now that is really hard to do, especially if we don't have a rotation attachment. And we can do the same thing for the other arch or other side. So just that created a red heavy movement here. You could click auto resolve and that will get rid of that heavy movement. I sometimes like to see if I can just take away a movement or two and alleviate it myself. So I hope this helps. From here, you could then just click on live update and the next ClinCheck, everything you put in is going to be updated and you can then approve and get this plan into printing and production and delivered to your patient very quickly.